Do you have to prove value more when the economy slows? Yes, but I think you really have to do it anytime. It's just that we need to understand a portion of sales is a numbers game, right? If you can have a crappy product, we all know crappy products out there, but they're selling. Why? Because they're in front of enough people. There are always going to be a percentage of people that are just going to like throw money at something or they'll buy something. Impulse buys are a good example of this. But in a slow economy, the numbers game, it shrinks a little bit. So instead of, your average 1 to 2% conversion rate, you might be getting less than 1% conversion rate, which means you're doing a ton of marketing to try to get the same number of sales you were getting a couple years ago. So yes, I do think that is the case, but I think it's important in any market. The more you do that, the more you're going to stand above your competitors, even when the markets are good. I was just looking at changing my packaging and upping my per hour. Is this the wrong time to do this? Such a great question, Lee. Okay, maybe, and maybe not. This is where we have to do that market research. Raising your prices in a slow economy is tricky. We need to understand that some people will not be okay with it. If you have crunched the numbers and it is a necessary thing for you to do, in other words, if your expenses have been going crazy the last 4 years, all of your expenses have gone up, but your pricing hasn't, you're essentially paying inflation twice, once for yourself and once for your customers, right? So we need to make sure that yes, we are raising prices to keep up with inflation and to keep ourselves in business. Yes, a certain number of our clientele may be uncomfortable with that. They may not be happy and they may go elsewhere. If you are providing great service, great value, they're less likely to go elsewhere because they know they're not going to get it better anywhere else. But the people who drop off and the people who stay now at a higher price point, it's gonna flush out, right? Where you may be doing less work, but making the same amount. Now you have more time to bring in more clientele. You need to do your market research on this. You need to understand where people are at. Once you do that market research, what you may be able to do is increase your price, but do something to also increase the value without increasing the time and energy you're putting into it. I don't know what you do, Lee, but really consider that in terms of how you increase the price, and then let people know. You can give them a heads up. If you have somebody under contract right now, I would give them a heads up. I would let them know in advance, like, hey, I hate to do this. I know you hate to do this, but as a small business, my expenses are going up. And unfortunately, I have to increase these prices. But here's what's great for you. These prices are going up. And as a result, I'm going to be able to do this better for you. I'm going to be able to do this better for you. You're going to start to see this changing and shifting and getting better. So if you can let them know what's in it for them, even in the price increase, that will help soften the blow. I hope that helps, Lee. What are the top questions I should be asking my clients when making a sale? I don't know what you do, but essentially you're asking what, why, when, how long, right? So tell me about yourself. What are you dealing with right now? What brings you in today? Why is this a now thing? Like why are you looking for this solution now? What you're really trying to understand in a sales call is everything that is going to help you know why they want to buy and what's going to help you position the offer to solve the problems that they're facing right now. So you need to know those problems. You need to understand, is there anything going on in the background? Do they have some deadline? If I work with a trainer, one of the questions I always want them to ask is, do they have an event coming up that is making them a little bit more motivated to work with a trainer? Like they have a wedding coming up and they need to fit into a bridesmaid's dress or something like that. If you understand the circumstances in a person's life, you can then position your offer better, because you're going to be able to say, I know that you mentioned you really need X, Y, and Z, and this right here, this part of the offer is exactly for that. But if you don't know what that is, you may not position that piece of the offer correctly. And then they may not really see the full value. They may not see what's in it for them and just be like, I could take it or leave it. The more questions you ask, the more they are also talking themselves into it. So you need to make sure you're asking a lot of questions, but don't overdo it. What we talk about in the Breakthrough Boss is how to tell when you should shift the conversation and what you shift it to. But in a nutshell, sit down, brainstorm what questions, when questions, how long, anything you can specific to your niche, and then go with the flow of the conversation. Because really, when you get really good at it, it should feel like an organic conversation. Okay, how can I keep loyal customers from switching to cheaper alternatives? Surprise and delight. Over-deliver in ways that you can sustain. Most people over-promise and under-deliver. Let's be honest, how many of us have been in that situation? I want you to not necessarily under-promise, right? We want to make sure they see the value, but then we want to wow them. We want to add ways that are just going to like surprise and delight them. So depending on your business, go ahead and find ways that you can add that they're going to be cost effective and time effective for you to really show them that you care about them, that you're taking care of them. You're going to bring that value. People don't want to leave great relationships, right? Nobody leaves a great relationship. We leave relationships that have either become toxic or become bland. So you want to think about that same thing as a business owner. Hopefully it's not a toxic relationship, but has it become a bland, boring, transactional relationship? Or are you still doing things that will surprise and delight them months, years down the road? Does that mean changing the niche we've decided on or broadening it? Beth, generally, I don't want you to broaden a niche unless you are ready to scale, right? We only broaden a niche when we have the marketing capacity to really be working at scale. Then we can start bringing in people from different demographics. Generally speaking, we may sometimes need to change our niche. Sometimes we don't change anything about our niche. Like we were saying before, the only thing you're changing is who you're marketing to, where you're marketing, right? If you are marketing to people on Instagram and it's not converting, well, is your ideal client on Instagram? Or if they're on Instagram, are they on Instagram looking for you? If not, where do they go when they're searching for you? Are they going to Google? If so, how can you rank in the top page of Google? Are they going to somebody for a referral? If so, how can you make those referral relationships so that those people are sending people to you? So generally speaking, unless it's a new business and you're still kind of figuring stuff out, if this niche was working, it will continue to work. We just make changes to our marketing and our sales to improve those things. What was the fourth area for a mentor? Sales and marketing, niche, mindset, and coach. You need a general consultant, somebody like me who has longevity, so they understand trends, fads, what comes and goes, somebody who works with people in a diversity of industries so that they understand and can get inspiration outside of your niche. If you work with a niche mentor, this is crucial. They know things about your niche that's going to help you to get better at marketing, but they will only be inside their bubble. What you need is somebody who is in a lot of different bubbles to be able to pull in inspiration. That's when you can really start to innovate. Okay, if you were a service provider and needed new clients yesterday, what is the first thing you would do? Freaking great question. I would look for other service providers in my area. I think you're a local service provider. I would look for other service providers in my area and I would call them up just like we talked about my husband used to do. Hey, I do this. I saw you do this. We should know each other. And just let the conversation go from there. But I would look for where are your clients hanging out and how can you get in front of them? Somebody else has already built that audience. So what can you do to tap into their audience? Tips for reaching more people. In general, you guys, what I had just said was where are your people, your ideal people hanging out? Ideal meaning they want what you have to offer and they have the money to invest in it, okay? Those are ideal. There's other metrics that you can, demographics that you can add to that, but those are the two that must be a thing. Where are they hanging out? How can you get in front of them? That's gonna be different for every business. If you're a personal trainer, you might be networking with doctors. If you are a contractor like my husband, you're going to be networking. He networks with contractors, with realtors, with designers. All of those people send him business and he has a zero marketing budget, spends no time on social media, even though I've encouraged him to. Like, it's just so easy for him. He doesn't do anything. That's the power of those strategic alliances. I'm a calligrapher and engraver. So we did talk. What I would recommend is reach out to wedding photographers, reach out to wedding planners, reach out to anybody who corporate events, anybody who runs corporate events. Do some digging, do some Googling in your area and find people who hire people like you and start networking. Just, hey, this is what I do. I just thought we should know each other. I would love to chat if there's a, opportunity for us to work together. People are used to getting these things. There will be a numbers game. You might reach out to 100 people and 50 of them aren't interested and 50 of them are like, oh my goodness, the timing is eerie. I was just talking about this the other day. It is a numbers game. So make sure that you are playing those numbers to your advantage. Make sure that you're doing enough outreach and follow up and nurturing of those relationships so that you make sure that you're gonna really have them when you need them. What would your first recommendation be for seeking sales knowledge? Can I toot my own horn here? Breakthrough Boss. Breakthrough Boss has a module just called sales. And all we do, we go through sales psychology. I teach you the different types of buyers and how you relate to and sell to each type of buyer, how you can sell to every type of buyer in everything that you do. We talk about the reasons that people buy and how to use those reasons in your own copy and sales. We have 2 different sales page experts that have come in to teach sales pages. One of them even covers e-com pages. We have how to do sales calls, how to ask for and call those referrals, how to do sales through DM. Like, it is literally everything that you can need. I would say start there. And then I would say read every book you can get your hands on, because all of them have something good. You do have to understand that a lot of them are going to come across salesy, and that's okay. The only thing that is actually salesy is if you push somebody after they've told you no, right? So if you understand that and you understand all the stuff that I teach, it's very easy to read a book that sounds salesy, take some great nuggets out of it, and not come across salesy. The strategies that I teach, you will not be salesy. The people that go through those strategies, they're constantly telling me, like, people are thanking me for my sales calls. They're actually enjoying my sales calls. That's what sales should be. Sales should feel like great service.